Thanks for watching Dead Space Lore, The Lurker. How's it going, guys? It's Roanoke Gaming. I hope everyone is doing well and ready to hear some lore on the Necromorphs. Today, we've got an infant Necromorph, and not the one that explodes. I am speaking, of course, of the Lurker. The exploding infant will be covered in a later video, so make sure you keep an eye out for that one. If this is your first time finding one of my videos, then please feel free to like and subscribe. And if this isn't your thing, what are you doing here in the first place? Regardless, let's jump into this thing. Lurkers are heavily mutated necromorphs sporting adaptations that make them perfect for operating and killing in low-gravity environments, such as in a ship or in space in general, and they're also lethal in long open areas, much like outside of a ship. Lacking both the coordination and muscle mass needed to kill a human outright, the Lurkers have been changed in a way that will make them lethal without having to get too close. You're probably thinking to yourself, much like I was, why are there even babies on the ship? The Ishimura, that is, in the first place. Well, for the Ishimura, the babies are actually just essentially going to be lumps of biomass. We'll call it that. They're not considered children, they're more considered utilizing genetics and human body to actually help people in the terms of if you got your arm injured, they could fix your arm. If your leg got cut off, they could fix your leg. Basically, these are essentially templates. They are used for the prosthetic procedures if someone is injured, as stated, and they are harvested to repair adult humans. That being said, on the Titan stations, these babies lack any ability to kill themselves, obviously, so this means, unfortunately, the caretakers would have been the ones to actually end these babies, making them into lurkers. The only infant-like features left on the lurker is going to be the head and the overall shape, looking somewhat like a baby crawling on the ceiling, which is, I'm just going to throw this out there, absolutely disturbing on a biological level, as this is humanity's young. It seems like this shape was chosen because a mother's instincts would probably override her necessity for survival, which gives the Necromorph a perfect chance to strike, adding another Necromorph to the pile. Basically, the markers are aware of what drives us on a mental, genetic, biological level, and they use this against the human species, or really any species. Use the young to kill the adults, and you'll have a pretty solid strategy. The limbs, or really the human limbs, are relatively vestigial, and the tentacles are used more for movement. There is a covering that protects the tentacles from plasma shots, or really any shots from a weapon, that is sturdy, stiff, and leathery. The tentacles are going to absolutely dominate the thoracic cavity as well as the abdomen. As stated, the tentacles are used to move it around. In regular gravity, their human limbs are used for movement, but in the case of lower gravity, the tentacles become the main form of locomotion. So let's jump into some more info on the tentacles. Coiled in the former pelvic and thoracic, as well as the abdomen area, the three long ropey tentacles unravel when a lurker finds a human. The tentacles are able to whip around, slicing and dicing anyone caught within range. The tentacles can hit with such a strong enough force that they can cave in someone's head. They are also experts in ranged attacks. The tentacles dig into the back of the lurkers, presumably pulling out vertebrae and bits of rib to fire at the unsuspecting person. And let's just say, your bones don't hold up as well to blunt force trauma as their bones are applying to you. If a pregnant mother comes in contact with the marker signal, this can change the unborn child into a lurker while it's still in the womb. The marker signal is also able to change lurkers while they're in the artificial wombs when they are essentially just being used for biomass. In the case of an actual human womb, it is assumed that once the lurker becomes a lurker rather than a baby, it will burst from the mother, killing her, and she becomes a necromorph as well. The signal is fairly adaptive, in which changes the lurkers, because seen in Dead Space 3, dogs begin to become infected and turn into lurkers as well. There has been one instance of an adult being turned into a lurker, but it has stopped after that one instance. My theory is that this only happened once, and it was maybe due to the fact that it was a smaller adult and it did not have the required biomass to become a slasher or leaper, thus rendering them a lurker. There are enhanced forms of lurkers as well. They appear all black with red eyes. They are also stronger, and the tentacles fling vertebrae harder, causing more damage. At range, a human can also be pretty deadly to a lurker if equipped with the right weapons. When the tentacles are exposed, shooting these with a well-placed shot can sever the tentacles, rendering the lurker a non-issue. The key is to not lose track and keep sight of them. They can quickly move from wall to ceiling to on you at a moment's notice. If this is the case, it is advised you get them off as quickly as possible. If given enough time, they will size you up and jam their tentacles into your neck and then fire the tentacles. This will cause instant decapitation and subsequently death of the person. The good news, however, at least for those who've ever considered punting an annoying child at a restaurant, is that they are fairly lightweight and cannot handle blunt force trauma. You can throw them off of you and with a swift kick disable the lurker permanently. I say disable over kill because they are really no longer living, so don't too feel bad about punting a baby. Alright guys, well this was a little bit of a short one today, but that's all I've got time for. I hope you liked my lore and morphology video over the lurker. Please like and subscribe, and I have more coming out, so while you're here, why not check out my last video over the Sangheili? Come on, check it out. You know you want to. Supposedly it's really good, and I'm not just being biased. And while you're doing that, why not check out part 1 as well? Until you waste large portions of your life on this channel. That's my only goal. A man can dream. Catch you on the next one.